Hi there VC, Steve Whitty here with another video, and this video is a contest entry, and this is to Julian Lopez's 100 subs contest. Julian is a bit like me, he's just reached his 100 and he's decided to have a competition to celebrate. Discovered this channel from watching others on VC. It's worth checking out, it's a good channel. I fully recommend. He seems to know his stuff. So without further ado, I won't make this video too long. I'll quickly flick through, and what Julian was looking for was for answers to 5 questions he'd set. And the first one was to show an album from your childhood. Now, what I'm going to show, mine is from something that my dad owned. It's not a copy, but my dad wasn't a prolific music buyer, and he certainly wasn't really much. He was into what was on the radio. He liked what he heard on the radio, but his real love was like ballad singers like David Whitfield or someone like Mario Lanza or Jim Reeves. That was more his bag. However, the one album that he had and he played a lot of was this, The Shadows' 20 Golden Greats, which is a staple of charity shops, pound bins, anywhere in the UK. The Shadows, you cannot underestimate their importance in British pop music history. Hank Marvin probably is Britain's first guitar hero. His influence ranges right across the board. His sound he got from the Fender Stratocaster, which was the first one that was ever brought into the UK, with his Vox amp, AC30 amp, I think. Just such a clean tone. It just set the standard for the music in the 60s. Certainly from 1960 to 1962, the Shadows were definitely the best group going. And obviously, when the Beatles came around, they were superseded, but the influence is still there. And you know, when I get a chance, I'll play this album as well because it does bring back some memories. But even just watching Dad, just enjoying himself, listening to the music. Next question is show an album that people wouldn't expect you to listen to. And I have to say, in the early 80s, I was a bit of a rock fan, and sort of like really railed against early 80s pop, things like Culture Club, Wham, the Joe Boxers, Paul Young, you name it, of that ilk. I was really against it. It was sort of punk rock, new wave, rock, heavy metal I was into. Maybe some electronic as well. So the album I've chose that people wouldn't expect me to listen to, I think it's mainly if they remember me from that period. I'm just going to say I've just picked a band from that period, and then I've picked Duran Duran's Rio album. Upon listening to it now, I've got a totally different pair of ears to it. I suppose as you get older, your tastes mellow a little bit, and you don't see things as black and white as you used to. You can see the grey, you see the influences in there. You can actually take some of the songs for what they are, good songs. Rio, it's just a great song. The video just accompanies I think just shows off the early 80s, you know. And I think the one thing bands like Duran Duran brought back into pop music after the punk new wave was a bit of glamour. And I think, I don't think people do expect their pop stars to be that element of glamour to them. Hungry Like the Wolf, Save a Prayer. Chauffeur is actually a corking song which ends the album. Corking track. So, yeah, I think people would be surprised that I'm listening to Rio by Duran Duran. The third question was, shows your favourite live album. And there's so many probably standard answers to this with live albums. So I've gone for one that's a particular favourite. It's not my total favourite, but it's a particular favourite, and probably one that's not going to... I'll be surprised if somebody else who's responding to this contest is going to show. I played it last week, and just really reminds you how good this album is. This is Steve Harley, Cockney Rebel, Face to Face. And this is a concert recorded at the Hammersmith Odeon. During the tour of December 1976 to January 1977, released in 1977. What I love about this album is the interaction between Steve Hartley and particularly the audience. I think the audience just make this album, particularly on side 4. They really, you can see that they're having a great time. Particularly, there's a track called Tumbling Down, and there's a line at the end of Tumbling Down where it goes, "Oh dear, look what they've done to the blues," and that's the line the crowd keep picking up on, and they'll sing along to it. Then at the end of the album, the last track is the Make Me Smile, Come Up and See Me, and they're crying out for more. But then the crowd start coming back to singing that line again. "Oh dear, look what they've done to the blues." And it's quite, actually, when I first heard it, it was quite moving, and that's how the album ends. It's a great live album, actually. I think Steve Hartley's very underrated. One of these artists from the 70s, underrated. I think because he was a bit of a mouthy so-and-so. He was a music journalist, and I think he knew how to play the game a little bit and knew how to push the buttons, which I think sort of wound the press up a little bit. I think he was more than a David Bowie impersonator when as EMI hoped for in this time. There's a lot more to him, and he's still going around, Steve Hartley. Well worth checking out. The fourth question is, show your favourite artist album from an artist that went solo. And this was quite easy to pick out. And at the time, it was just a solo album, because the band was still just about together, and then a year later the band officially broke up. The album I've chose is Sting's Dream of the Blue Turtles, which was released in 1985. Recorded in Montserrat. He'd went ahead and just got himself a band. It's very much jazz influenced band, and it's just a great album. From If You Love Someone, Set Them Free. You got Russians, which was quite a moody song. Shadow in the Rain, Consider Me Gone. We Worked the Black Scene, which was quite poignant at the time, because when the album came out, we were in the middle of the miners' strike. And being from the northeast, I think Sting felt that kinship with the miners. You know, he could well have ended up, if he hadn't been showed a bit of talent to be a teacher, going down the mines. I think that was something that always stayed with him. My favourite track's the last track on the album, Fortress Round Your Heart. The sun always seems to shine when I hear that song. By far his best solo album, actually, to be quite honest. Not that I really totally followed his solo career, but yeah, I think this is my favourite album from an artist that's gone solo. And then the final question was, make an album recommendation. And I had to think about this, because obviously, you know, quite a lot of my collections, what a lot of people have got. But then I thought, I'll think of a band that I liked. And the band I like a lot is Roxy Music. And I see, obviously, the first album, maybe the second, third, maybe fourth album is shown. One album I don't really see a lot of on the VC is the fifth album, Siren. There's Mrs. Murdoch, as she is now, Jerry Hall, Mrs. Rupert Murdoch, on the cover. This album came out in 1975. This is an album, an Ireland pressing. You've got first track on the album's Love Is The Drug, which was a #2 single in the UK. The biggest hit single, I think, for them in the US. You've got Both Sides Burning, Just Another High, a great song, End of Line, Sentimental Fool, Whirlwind, She Sells, Could It Happen to Me, Nightingale. It's just a great album. Maybe not as great as say the first two albums. Well, in fact, the other four albums, but it's still a good album. It was after this album that the band took a bit of a hiatus. Brian Ferry concentrated on his solo career before they came back with Manifesto. But no, this is a great album. If you haven't heard it, it's worth checking out. Really good. So there you go, Julian. That's my entry to your contest. Again, well done on reaching 100 subs. I know how that feels. And here's to the next 100. And here's to, maybe you have another contest. But, keep making those videos, mate. I really enjoy watching them. As for UVC, if you if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you wish to comment, always leave a comment. I'll reply back to you. And for those who haven't subscribed to me, it's viewing me for the first time, if you liked what you see, just click the subscribe button. Always willing to accept more subscribers. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day off, and until the next time at VC, take care, keep healthy, and keep smiling, and keep listening to the music.